live a life of virtue, responsibility, and a good sense for a better relationship with God. Now, men, we're not going to leave you out today. This message is also to bless you in the finding a virtuous woman if you don't have one. And if you have a woman, but as I go through this message today and you find out that she is not as God has intended for her to be, we ask that you pray for her, that God will guide her heart in the right direction. So as we begin to sacredly search our scriptures today, we see here in Proverbs 31, God gives a guide to becoming godly women who fear him. We see here in our text, God designed the Proverbs 31 woman as a model for us to live the standard of perfection for all women, whether you're married, single, young, or old. Yeah. The text starts out by saying, who can find a virtuous woman? Yeah. Let's look at the word virtuous. Look at it. Virtuous means strength, efficiency, and ability. Here in our text we see it says, who shall find a woman of strength, a woman of character? God has set a standard, an expectation he left on record for us to follow. As children of God, we are to be living Christ-like lives. As women, we are to be reflecting God's character by being a virtuous woman. The text may be seen as the outward result of a heart that is being transformed into the likeness of Christ, the image of a woman after God's own heart. Have you ever been in a place in your life where you wanted God to change you? Where you wanted a new beginning? Where you looked at yourself and said, you know what? I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have done it. If so, we find ourselves at the point that it is when we need to realize and understand that God is a God of another chance. Not a second chance, but another chance. Because if he was just a God of a second chance, I would have messed that chance up a long time ago. He is a God that can mold us and make us into the women he intended for us to become. No matter where we've been, what we've done, who we've done it with, how long we've done it, it doesn't matter. He can make us, mold us into what he would have for us to be. For example, in Joshua 2, Rahab was a prostitute, but the Lord used her to accomplish his plan. The transformation of Rahab's life demonstrates the power and glory of God's grace. How many know that God's grace is sufficient for you? How many know that grace is the same when everything else fails? Rahab went from a sinner to a saint. No matter what state you are in, when your faith is so strong, you can seek the Lord and he will transform you. When your heart is right and you remain faithful to him, he will begin to mold you into a virtuous woman. So if we are to have a heart like his, then we need to find ourselves like the psalmist in Psalms 51 and 10, creating me a clean heart and renew the right spirit within me. Cast me not away from your presence. Please don't take your spirit from me, but restore the joy of salvation so I may be able to lay at your feet and worship thee. We must learn to use our cards of strength and our clean heart and become intimate with Jesus. The New Testament story of Martha and Mary shows us that if we are not taking time to sit at the feet of Jesus and let him speak to us personally, then we are missing the most important thing, the thing that gives us our strength. Let me suggest that Mary was not being lazy. When she spent time with Jesus, she was just soaking in the mindset, priorities, and love of Christ. The heart of a Proverbs woman is the type of heart that Jesus had and wanted to develop within us. He has that heart and he wants to develop it between me and you. Now that we